Hi, I'm Jeff Fleming, an estate planning and elder law attorney in Central Pennsylvania, and also the video host for the Elder Care channel of Central Pennsylvania. So I am joined by Gina today. Gina, please introduce yourself.
Well, thank you very much, Jeff. My name is Gina Montgomery. I'm the marketing coordinator for Home Helpers Direct Link. We are a non-medical company that makes life easier by providing the elderly with services to stay in their own homes.
Can you talk a little bit more for our audience about those types of services?
Certainly. The services that we provide are all non-medical. We can assist with any personal care, 100%. We also provide home support services, vacuuming, dusting, anything that you need to be able to stay active and independent in your own home are services that we provide.
And how long have you been involved in this type of work?
I've been with Home Helpers for about 5 years now, and before that I was a teacher. My father developed Alzheimer's, so you can't really get a phone call from your mother in the middle of the classroom and say, "Excuse me, third graders, you just amuse yourselves, I have to go find my father." So when he developed Alzheimer's, that's how I got into the field. It was so frustrating not having any services to be able to help him and my mother and I keep him at home.
Thank you for sharing your personal story. So that's your driving force for your work in this field?
Absolutely. My father's biggest fear was being placed somewhere, going somewhere. As I have been out and meeting with different groups and talking to seniors, if you asked 100% of them, where do you want to live, 100% are going to tell you, I want to stay in my own home. So Home Helpers does offer whatever services you need to be able to stay home.
Home Helpers and you are very involved in some other programs and programs that give back. And I'd like you, if you would, share with our audience about some of those programs, but start with your goodie bags, please.
I'm a baker, and I used to have a little catering business. I don't do that anymore, but I'm known as the goodie bag lady at Home Helpers. Every client that I go to see, every caregiver that comes in the office, every group that I speak to, they get goodie bags. Homemade, most of the elderly don't get much homemade food anymore. It's all frozen foods or other kinds of processed foods, and they miss something homemade. I was raised that when you go visit somebody, you always take a little something, and if somebody comes and visits you, you give them a little something. So that's the way I was raised, and that's one of the reasons I'm so happy with Home Helpers, because they embrace that home feeling of being home.
That's really special. Thank you. What about some other ways that Home Helpers gives back?
We actually are very involved in the community. We have several different services that we're promoting right now. One is our holiday cards for our veterans. We do a big program every September 11th at the Hollidaysburg Veterans Home to honor the veterans, both living in the community and living at the Veterans Home. And at Christmas time, we have a little competition between the various elementary schools. This year it is between Frankstown Elementary, and the third grade classes are in a heated competition developing homemade Christmas cards that our caregivers and their children and their grandchildren will present to the veterans this Friday, as a matter of fact. So in addition to supporting our veterans, we also run a clothing exchange or a personal care supply exchange. A lot of our clients go through maybe a situation where they've lost a lot of weight. They're on a limited income and can't really go out and buy new clothes like most of us. So we have a clothing exchange right on the property. The caregivers will come in and say, "Hey, Mrs. So-and-so, her winter coat doesn't fit her anymore." She can go back into the clothing exchange room and pick out whatever she wants free of charge. We don't charge any clients or community members. We actually heard of a family that was devastated by a fire, and we had Judy, our file clerk, go through and just bag up a lot of clothes that we thought would fit the families in the communities. They don't have any elderly people, but they're part of our community too. So we try to help everybody.
Well, I applaud you for your efforts, and
Thank you.
certainly thank you for that. Is there anything else about home helpers that you would like to share with our audience?
I just think that Home Helpers is probably the best company that I've ever worked for. Their philosophy of making life easier is absolutely true. I have dealt with so many family members that live out of state or have moved away. You know, your parents raised you to be strong and independent people, and they boot you out the door and send you to another state, and then, especially this time of year, they come home to visit, and they see mom and dad maybe need a little more help than what they thought. So being able to be a liaison between the children, the siblings that have moved away and can't get their parents out the door because they lived in that house for 65 years and they're going to stay there till the good Lord tells them it's time to go. So being able to help those families offer the support to the clients so that they can stay home is the greatest feeling in the world. You never want to see somebody have to leave their home because of something that could have been taken care of very simply and very easily. 4 hours a week, just somebody to come in and help you do some cleaning. Or, you know, if you needed it 24/7, we do either one. We actually get a lot of phone calls from local hospitals because of our rapid response unit. That is a group of caregivers that we get a phone call from a hospital. It always happens on a Friday at 4 o'clock. Mr. So-and-so is being discharged from the hospital. He's not going to a rehab facility. He's going home and has no one there. Can you come in and meet with him? Absolutely. We can come in. We'll start 24/7. And as he gets more comfortable being home and, you know, utilizing whatever skills he needs to adapt to his home environment, then, you know, they may cut us back and cut us back. I'm not going to say we're happy to be booted out the door, but being able to help somebody stay home is the greatest feeling in the world.
For the rapid response program, for whom is it typically geared, and the range of ages, if you will?
It is geared to anybody who needs in-home support at the last minute, and yes, we can supply caregivers for anyone 18 and over. Most of our clients have been senior citizens, but if you needed our help and you needed to make your life easier, we would come.
And what are the criteria that you would look for to determine whether that rapid response program is appropriate?
Well, usually we would get the input from the discharge planner or the case managers because they've already done all the history of the client and determined what kind of support system they have in place. They've actually called a couple of times with maybe it's an elderly wife who is at home and yes, she would be able to get meals, but she may not be able to help him with any of his personal care just because of her age. So we work very closely in conjunction with the discharge planners and the case managers at UPMC, Clearfield, Mount Nittany.
Sounds like a very important and growing component of home helpers.
Well, the Affordable Care Act has caused a lot of changes for a lot of people, and we're just trying to help in any way that we can.